Nothing I can do about it.
Hi, and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's live Game of Thrones Season 7 pre-discussion, or pre-season Season 7 discussion, I don't know. Anyway, I'm joined here by Akton and Tamko, who of course is a friend of the channel, done chats along. Akton, how are you today?
I am good. I apologize again for I'm always in the dark. I just live in a dark house, and the chats we do always end up being at night. So I really need to do chats like 12 in the afternoon for you guys to be able to see me. I try my best to light the place, but it just doesn't work. So I'm here in the shadows, but I am here to talk about Game of Thrones Season 7 and take your questions, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, unfortunately, like 12 in the afternoon is like 6 in the morning for me, or 7 in the morning for me. So I end up having to do it at these times. But yeah, no, that's all good. Yeah, really excited for Season 7. Just really waiting to get into it. Now, we wanted to start off talking about the trailer, any thoughts we have on the upcoming trailer, how it affects our predictions or whatever. And so the first thing I wanted to talk about, and the thing I've sort of been thinking about the most, is all right, when I saw the first trailer, like, and I showed the Unsullied like bursting into Casterly Rock, I was like, oh, I bet you Tyrion like tells him about the sewers there, and I thought I was so clever for coming up with this. But then I watched every single other YouTube video in existence said the same thing, and I was like, God damn! But
Yeah.
Sort of an obvious conclusion to have, and I think the second trailer even makes this even more clear, where you see the Unsullied opening the gates for other Unsullied. Akton, do you believe this is a foregone conclusion? This is definitely what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I actually didn't think about that because I forgot about the thing with Tyrion in the sewers of Casterly Rock. So, but yeah, you and every, hundreds of videos said that, and then I brought it up too. I was like, yeah, everybody is saying this sewer thing, and it makes sense to me. I mean, I think that, to say that it is a foregone conclusion, sure, I'd go that far. I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that that's the case. I mean, especially since, as you pointed out, we see some Unsullied who appear to already be inside Casterly Rock, opening the doors for other Unsullied. So that does make a lot of sense. And then the second trailer, you see Grey Worm, across the river from some kind of opening, something that could, be construed as like a sewer opening that they could go into. And Grey Worm like nods really quickly, like it's time to go. Like, so I think that is the case.
And it's very reminiscent of the way they got broken to Marine. The Grey Worm did the same thing. He went through the sewer system in Marine in Season 4. So, I think it makes sense that they try to do the same tactic, especially with Tyrion's knowledge of Casterly Rock. Now, we are assuming it's Casterly Rock, but I mean, I think that's a pretty safe assumption.
First of all, I mean, I don't think we remember. Did we do the spoiler warning?
Oh, no, we should definitely do a spoiler warning because it's hard. Since we know the spoilers of the production leaks and the plot leaks, more importantly, it's hard for us to talk about what we think is going to happen in Season 7 without getting into spoilers. So we'll give you the blanket spoiler warning right now. You might want to actually leave the chat or stop this video if you don't want to hear any of the plot leaks or production leak spoilers, because we're going to get all into them throughout the entire
very
video.
Specifically into it.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that, because the plot leak says that the Unsullied take Casterly Rock. So I think it's pretty much 100% Casterly Rock, since we know they do in the plot leak. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I kind of forgot that part. There's one thing I wanted to mention about the plot leak is that the last I don't know if you saw it, but the last discussion video we did with Buzz Talks, I got a comment like a few days later from someone that's saying, "Oh, you guys are getting all of your information wrong, and here's the link." So I posted the link to like the definitive actual chat from the Free Folk site or whatever, and I started to read it, but it was in a format that I found very annoying to read, so I just gave up. And actually think maybe it's better that I don't know the specific leaks and I'm just going off because there's a lot of misinformation out there, apparently. And I think most of the "you guys don't know what you're talking about" was probably aimed at me. I think I just read a lot of sites that were saying a lot of like wrong things.
Yeah, because sometimes you would say some side stuff that I hadn't heard, and so some of that side stuff is a little questionable. But I feel like the bulk of like the main plot leak, like we have right. I mean, because a lot of that has already been confirmed by production leaks and photos and things like that. So, and then like this Casterly Rock thing, it seems to be pretty much confirmed in the trailer. So, I mean, I think we have the bulk of it right. I mean, there might maybe some of these little side things that you read on these random websites that might have things wrong. Maybe some of that is not accurate, but I think like the gist of it, I do believe that we have.
All right, I think I'm going to have to pause this discussion here because in the chat I see there's like breaking news happening now. Apparently, the titles of the episodes have been released.
I was just about to ask about that as well because I have not seen these titles.
Yeah, if anyone has a link that they want to post.
So, episode 1 is Dragonstone. Really unique, Marilyn says. Episode 2 is Stormborn. So both of them are Daenerys-related titles?
Oh, yeah. Because, well, Stormborn, I actually thought of like the Ironborn, maybe, but I guess.
Well, Daenerys Stormborn.
Is Stormborn, yeah.
But Dragonstone, according to the plot leak, they get to Dragonstone at the end of episode 1. Like, they don't even show up until the very end of episode 1. So why would that be the title?
Alex Movie says, I think episode 3 is Queen of Dragons. Is that a joke?
Queen's Justice. I'm there. Is that what it is? Yeah, somebody got a link to this? Because we have not seen these things.
Well, anyway, how'd you guys figure that out? Let's talk about Grey Worm, because the big question to me of them taking Casterly Rock is not so much of if it's going to happen, but when. So, because I've heard different theories, because the theory I was sort of sticking by, and I think you kind of agree with me, is that they would go from the battle, the big battle in episode 4 with the outside of Highgarden, whatever, where they attacked the Lannisters, that the Unsullied would go from there to take Casterly Rock. But I've recently heard other theories that they actually go to take Casterly Rock first, and then they come down from Casterly Rock to join the battle. Oh,
I actually thought something completely different. I thought that it was simultaneous, and those Unsullied were doing it, like the Unsullied are attacking Casterly Rock simultaneous as the Dothraki and the dragons are attacking that ambush outside of Highgarden. I always thought that that's what it was. So I didn't even think. Like I said in my trailer review actually that there's a dead Unsullied on the field. That's the first time I've ever even heard of the Unsullied being at that battle on the field, because all the other leaks, all the other photos, information we had seen, pictures in the trailer, was only Dothraki and the dragons. So, and I was like, oh, look, I guess the Unsullied are there too. So maybe they do join later after the Casterly Rock battle. But I actually thought that those were two completely separate things going on at the same time, but maybe not.
Oh yeah, I think seeing the dead Unsullied at the battle, or I think it confirms that they'll be at the battle. But I suppose it could be a smaller group of Unsullied there while Grey Worm takes. That's always so. It could happen simultaneously. It could happen afterwards. It could happen before. So, are you still banking on simultaneous?
No, not necessarily. Or maybe it's first, and then they come and join later. They do Casterly Rock, like you said, Casterly Rock first, and then they come and join the battle.
Oh, okay.
Like I was
thinking it would be later, but I suppose first might make a bit more sense.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that they were just going to be. I thought it's simultaneous because she's just hitting them on all fronts, like all at the same time, and they can't like having them spread out. Like, and I know you. I don't know if you still are on board with this, but your prediction was that Jaime would be at Casterly Rock to have a main character there. My prediction is the main character there is Grey Worm, and we don't need a Lannister main character because it's just going to be the Unsullied taking over the Casterly Rock. So that would be a good strategy because Jaime cannot be at both places at once. Lannister forces are spread, like especially if they somehow, which was my theory, that they somehow are, and they do call it an ambush. So that does make sense that Daenerys' forces are somehow drawing them to Highgarden to set up this ambush. And so now, and then at the same time, they would hit him at Casterly Rock. So the Lannister forces would be spread out, and Jaime couldn't possibly be at both places. So I think that would be a good strategy. So that's why I thought that's how it was going.
Okay, so are you sticking by that then? Do you still think that's the case?
I do, but I mean, it's possible that, I don't know, some of the Unsullied, like they take Casterly Rock quickly and the other battle lasts a long time and they're able to get there. Or, as you said, maybe a smaller force of the Unsullied go to the battle, so maybe they are completely separate. So, yeah. But I still kind of overall like the theory just because I think it would be a pretty sound strategy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to lean away from the Jaime Lannister being at Casterly Rock. I think you might be right that the main character at Casterly Rock is just Grey Worm, and that's it. Yeah. And I also think that maybe I'm leaning away from them taking it after the battle. I'm starting to think maybe it is either before or simultaneously. I don't know. It seems like they would split their forces too much. But I don't know. I'm kind of doubting it would be before the battle because my sort of thinking is that Cersei's sort of winning the war with like Euron's big attack on the Sand Snakes and whatnot. And she thinks she's winning until this battle at the field, and that's the turning point of the war. So a simultaneous attack would support that. So I think that may still be likely, but not sort of before. I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it could be a simultaneous attack would make sense because, and I believe that, as I said in my trailer review, that I think that Euron, all those Euron fire scenes and Euron attacking Theon and Yara, I could be wrong, but my feeling is that that's the first episode. So I think this is something that happens early. Maybe second, but I think it's probably the first. And then the next episode after that is when Euron goes and we see in the trailer Euron's ships going to King's Landing, and then he prances Laria and Yara around in the city, and so that would be episode 2 or 3 probably. So I think that makes a lot of sense that it appears that Cersei is winning. She's got this new powerful ally in Euron, and things are going well for her. And then Daenerys, like, boom, boom, double punch with the Casterly Rock and the ambush outside of Highgarden.
I think that does make a lot of sense. The one other thing I want to officially change one of my predictions and say that I do believe now that Grey Worm is going to die, because in my Who's Gonna Die video I didn't bring up Grey Worm, but the more I'm hearing about this, and some people even thought that Grey Worm would die at the big battle in the Reach, that Jaime Lannister would kill him. I think that's a bit far out, but maybe he died there. But the reason I'm sort of changing my mind is because we haven't heard any hider. Like, we know that he's not going to be that big dragon pit scene at the end of the season. We haven't really seen much of him at the end of the season. But the main thing is that we know that he's going to get it on with Missandei. So that's kind of like, in writing terms, it's like a death sentence. Oh, he's happy. They're happy together, so we're going to have to kill one of them all.
Yeah. And if I recall correctly, I mean, I know I predicted Grey Worm to die last season, and I actually don't remember if I re-predicted him to die this season, but I think I did because of the fact that we didn't see him at. Or he was not in the plot league at the end of the dragon pit thing. So, I think that I did predict him to die.
Alex McMovies asked, does Tormund die? It will kill me if he does. I'm still saying no, because I think they need to have a representation of the wildlings going forward, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think I might have predicted him to die too, but I could definitely see him not dying. Because he was not one mentioned in the plot leaks. who is dying. There were well, we did give the spoiler warning, so I'll just say it. So
yeah, go ahead.
Darian and Thoros Mir both came up in the plot leaks as dead.
Yeah.
But we know the Hound survives because, or at least he's there at the Dragon Pits. I mean, unless, you know.
Did the plot leaks say Beric Dondarrion? I just remember Thoros Mir.
Yeah, it said both of them if I remember correctly. I mean, maybe I'm misremembering that, but I'm pretty sure it said both of them dies. Cardinal Doomsday says hashtag deadworm. It's good. Once Tormund and Brienne make lum, one of them is dead for sure. Yeah, same as. Yeah, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think the Brienne Tormund thing is going anywhere.
I think that's there for comic relief.
Yeah, basically, because they made it obvious that she does not at all reciprocate his feelings. It's there, But anyway, I brought up the episode titles and descriptions. So let's actually just talk about that, and I'll just read them for you.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, I brought it up. No, I went and found it myself.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. So it's at the Variety, so that's pretty good thing. So episode 1, Dragonstone, organizing the defense of the North. Cersei tries to even. Oh no, sorry, I stopped late. Episode 1 sees Jon Snow organizing the defense of the North. Cersei tries to even the odds, and Daenerys comes home. So it's pretty self-explanatory synopsis. And then let's get on. Episode 2 is Stormborn. Daenerys receives an unexpected visitor. Jon faces a revolt, and Tyrion plans the conquest of Westeros.
Oh, I feel like one of my predictions was just confirmed. But
okay, go ahead. Before we get into episode 3, I'm curious.
I feel like, I mean, it's not confirmed, but it is like definitely. And I could be wrong. Usually, when I say stuff like this, when I say like I feel like I'm the only one who made this prediction, then somebody says, "Oh no, this channel and that channel, and this channel also made that same prediction." I'm like, okay, fine, but I'm the only one that I saw that made this prediction specifically. And I'm saying it, I'm calling it. The unexpected visitor is Melisandre, and we have seen her in the trailer. It looks like she's at Dragonstone. And I originally came up with this prediction because there were these photos of her, even though it was from a far distance and you couldn't see her face, it looked like Melisandre's garb. And that's where I came up with this prediction that Melisandre was going to visit Daenerys. And I'm calling it, she's the unexpected visitor.
Well, I totally agree completely. Yeah. You especially see Melisandre at Dragonstone in the trailer, so I think that pretty much. Like, couldn't think of who else the unexpected visitor could be. And I will say that I just watched some of Max from Buzz Talks, who we've done talks before, and his predictions. He also said that Melisandre would be the visitor, but he did his predictions more recently.
Yeah, I did it before the trailer. And I was like the only one at the time who was saying that I saw. But yeah, anyway.
Okay, so episode 3 is the Queen's Justice. Let's see. Daenerys holds court. Cersei returns a gift. Jaime learns from his mistakes. Yeah.
So Cersei returns Gendry.
No, I couldn't help but thinking. Like, oh no! But Gendry was Littlefinger's gift to Lady Olenna. Remember?
Oh right, right.
I couldn't help but think about that anyway. Yeah, but so I don't know. From they're very short and vague, which is actually kind of good because I don't.
Yeah. Well, since we already know the plot leaks anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But so it doesn't really give any indication, for example, when the Euron sea battle might take place, or when Euron will meet with Cersei. Because I actually got the impression she would meet with Cersei first and then attack Theon.
Well, and then the first episode it said something about Cersei. What did it say about Cersei for the first episode?
Hold on. Cersei tries to even the odds.
Maybe her trying to even the odds is making a pact with Euron.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that could be it, and it could be the second episode where the attack happens. That's true.
Yeah.
I just definitely think it's within the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
But that would make sense. Euron goes to Cersei first. And in the first trailer, there's a scene where you see Cersei and Jaime in the throne room, and there is another person there. And if you freeze frame it, a lot of people think that it's Euron. The other possibility would be Tycho Nestorius, since we know he's going to King's Landing. But a lot of people thought that was Euron. So that could be that scene.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. What do you make of in episode 2? It says Jon faces a revolt. Because we know the thing about him, like people aren't going to be happy because he's going to pardon the Karstark and Umber heirs. But do you think that's what it refers to?
I think it does, yeah.
Because I was just talking about this in my rewatch of season 5 video that I just put up a few hours ago. Is that in season 5, Jon's mistake was that he didn't listen to those under his command, and showed compassion to his enemies, and everyone under his command was pissed off. And it seems like he has the potential to do the exact same thing here when he shows compassion to the Karstarks.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, and give me a second. I'm just getting darker. I'm going to try turning on another light, so maybe I'm not completely in the shadows. So hold on.
Let's see what's going on in the chat. Alex's movie says, I heard a rumor that Davos, Theon, the Hound, and Bronn all die in the pits. Is this true? Sorry, I'm not big with the plot leaks. Well, as far as I know, that's not in the plot leaks. It doesn't mean it can't happen, because the plot leaks doesn't cover absolutely anything. I mean, I suppose I didn't think anyone was going to die in the dragon pit.
Let's see.
But I suppose they could.
Ooh. All right. Let's see.
All right. Ghost stories.
All right. Okay, maybe that's slightly less dark. Okay.
Right, so I was just reading something from Alex of Movies in the chat where he's talking about a rumor that Davos, Theon, the Hound, and Bronn will all die in the dragon pit scene. And there's nothing in the plot leaks that say that, but that doesn't mean it couldn't happen. I mean, because in the trailer, and this is something I did want to talk about with the trailer. In the trailer, we see the Hound pulling his sword at the dragon pit. So it does make me think maybe there will be some sort of fighting going on there.
Yeah. Oh, that's obviously a Clegane Bowl.
I know that's what everyone's saying.
Yeah.
I'm not as against Clegane Bowl like post Cersei's trial by combat as I was. The main thing I was against was the trial by combat thing. But maybe the Cleganes do fight at the pits. I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah, sure they do. Yeah. I mean, I think they could fight in the midst of a big fight where a bunch of people are fighting, and then a lot of people will claim victory on Clegane Bowl, and everybody will shut the fuck up about it from now on. Which would be great. I'm like, great. Okay, you guys are right. That's totally Clegane Bowl. All right, now shut up about it already.
I don't know. I got the impression from the leaks that the Dragon Pit meeting would be more civil and they would come to like a formal agreement and there wouldn't really be any fighting, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I totally misread that. I did think that Euron was going to die there, though.
Yeah. Well, that was my prediction.
Okay. Just looking over this episode description. So episode 2 is Tyrion plans the conquest of Westeros. So that moves a bit slower than I thought, because I thought that would happen in episode 1. So episode 1 must just be...
Well, the plot leak says that they show up at Dragonstone at the end of the first episode, and that's all you see of them.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't remember that part of it. It's been a while, and I never read the full thing anyway. Okay, so episode 1 sees Jon Snow organizing the defense of the North, which makes sense. But again, we're talking about the revolt happens in episode 2, so it doesn't seem like much happens with him. And Cersei tries to even out. So it doesn't seem like much happens in episode 1. So I'm curious.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I think there's things being left out. I believe Bran going to the walls probably episode 1.
Yes. Yeah.
I think we'll definitely be seeing some Arya in episode 1. Arya hasn't been mentioned yet in the descriptions.
Oh no, she's gonna wear Walder Frey's face in episode 1.
Yeah. And I actually called that as the opening scene of the season. So we'll see if I'm right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things I'm probably wrong, but on the off chance that I'm right, then I'd be like, yeah, look how right I was. Like I called it, but it's probably not going to be the case. But I do think it'll be episode 1 regardless.
All right, now getting to some serious talk. What do you think Cersei returning a gift means? Like, I'm a bit puzzled by that. Is it something to do with Euron?
Well, I was wondering. Remember, she got the gift from Dorne of her.
Oh, the viper head, the viper head, where she put it perfectly back together so she could open it again for Jaime for her dramatic effect.
Right. That's right. Yeah, that one. So I'm wondering. So this is starting. This was episode 3, was it?
Yes.
So this is adding up to me. Episode 1, Euron goes to Cersei. Episode 2, big fire battle. Episode 3 is when Euron is prancing Ellaria and Yara around, and that is Cersei returning the gift to Ellaria in episode 3.
Oh yeah, that does. Yeah. That does make a lot of sense. I do think that's, and so episode 3 might be the one where Euron parades Ellaria and Yara through the streets.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
I think that does make a lot of sense. All right, so the Cow's Mountain in the chat keeps repeating this theory, so I think he wants us to pay attention. It looks like a good theory. So he says, I have a theory that Arya will use Sansa's face and seduce Littlefinger. He will give her the blade to kill Jon before she takes Sansa's face off and stabs him with his own blade. And I think that's referring to there's been a lot of talk about Arya having the Valyrian steel blade that was used to try to assassinate Bran in season 1, which apparently I think got into Littlefinger's possession because Catelyn took it down to King's Landing. I think gave it to Littlefinger.
Right.
But I honestly haven't really given much thought about this because it seemed like I don't like reading too much into photos and saying, oh, that's the same blade, because it's hard to tell from a photo. It could just be a similar blade. But, I mean, that theory of her wearing Sansa's face is actually entirely possible because the plot leak does, of course, say that Arya will kill Littlefinger.
What the plot leak says is that Arya is going to kill Littlefinger at Sansa's, or she's going to execute Littlefinger at Sansa's command. Like Sansa's going to sentence him to death, and Arya's going to execute him.
Yeah,
which I contradicted in my prediction. I didn't think it was going to go down because it just sounds dumb. Like I don't know, but that's probably is what's going to happen because the plot leak has been proven correct pretty much everywhere else. But
I can't wait for the plot leak to be proven wrong. Some of it's got to be wrong.
Yeah, and that's one that I was betting on to be wrong. So
cool.
Were there other episode descriptions, or did it only go up to 3?
No, just the first 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Dragonstone, Stormborn, and the Queen's Justice. Yeah, they all potentially could refer to Daenerys, but I think some of them have double meanings. Like I think
Queen's Justice, I think, also probably refers to Cersei.
Cersei, I think it more refers to Cersei because if it's her, it's when she like executes Ellaria, then that deaths were usually what they refer to the king's justice is when someone's executed.
Yeah. So I think that's probably what it is.
And Stormborn is definitely, well, Daenerys is a Stormborn, as you said, but I think it could be double meaning with the Ironborn. So I think the Ironborn attack takes place because I think they do it during a storm as well, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And a lot of these episodes do have double meanings. So, and you know who hasn't been mentioned or only, I think, barely seen in the trailers is Sam. Like Sam is just always under the radar.
Oh, that's true.
And Jorah, and I think we will
saw
see
that
Sam. The what? Yeah. Yeah, I think we will see him within the first 2 episodes too. And
I think so too. Well, I mean, I think like apparently, again, getting this plot leaks, Jorah gets cured by like episode 5, so they need we need to get this taken care of for like in the first 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah. That seems a pretty quick cure, but yeah.
I mean, I am a bit worried about the season being a bit too rushed, but
yeah, I am too. That's been one of my biggest concerns from the beginning, that it's going to be too rushed.
Unfortunately, it doesn't give runtime for the episodes because that would be interesting to know what the running time is.
Yeah.
They said that some episodes, some people speculate, might be like an hour and a half long.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I'm guessing more of the like episode 4, episode 6, like the ones with the battles.
Oh yeah.
Maybe the finale. But I don't think like episode 1 will be 90 minutes.
No, probably. Well, but it seems like nothing happens in that.
Well, like I said, I think there are things that are being left out, like Arya, possibly Sam, Bran. I think is being left out. So I think that it's not describing everything, but it's going to be a typical episode 1. It's going to be a lot of setup, I think.
Okay, so just getting back to the trailer a bit because I think we talked about the synopsis as much.
Well, they're putting runtimes up there now. Do you want to?
Oh, really?
You want to see?
59 minutes for episode 1. Okay, yeah. I mean, that's about average. It's not short.
Yeah. That's actually a little bit longer. A lot of them last year were like, low 50s. I think there was 1 or 2 that were upper 40s last year.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead back to the trailer. Let's get some. We're gonna do a Q&A, and we kind of got sidetracked with the episode descriptions. So
back
to the trailer.
Well, the one thing I did want to mention is that there's a shot of Jaime in the second trailer, which I thought was King's Landing, but then some people said it was Highgarden. But then I did see a screenshot that showed a dead body lying on the ground while Jaime's walking. So I think it's very definitively Highgarden then. Yeah.
Well, the first time that I read that, it was like they were talking about it as if it was obvious. Oh, the dead body there that everybody can see. But you have to freeze it at the exact right instant to even notice that dead body. I mean, if you're watching it in real time, you'll never catch it, and unless you've already seen it and you know to look for it. But but the first time I read about it was like, well, obviously it's Highgarden because of that dead Tyrell that we saw there. I mean, it's so obvious. But I'm convinced now that it's Highgarden as well.
What episode do you think that will happen? Do you think that would be episode 3? Because I'll bring up the descriptions again because I think didn't it say something about Jaime learning from a mistake? Hold on. Jaime learned from his mistakes is what it says for episode 3.
So what mistakes would he learn from in order to attack Highgarden?
Not being too merciful, I guess.
Yeah,
because maybe it refers to him not killing Edmure or whatever, or the Blackfish.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I don't know. I don't know. I think in some way it refers to him taking Highgarden.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I believe in the chat they're saying episode 7 is 89 minutes.
Yeah,
so that's
one person says 78 minutes, and the next person says 89. So I don't know which one of you are correct. So
I'll go with the longer one.
Yeah, let's just go with that. So there's something that I wanted to talk about in the trailers.
Yep.
And then I do want to get to the Q&A because I think we're about 45 minutes in or something like that, and I don't want to be here forever.
Yeah.
So I wanted your take on what I said in my review. There's a couple voiceovers I want to talk about. I don't really need to talk about the first one with Sansa and Littlefinger. I think it's pretty straightforward. Littlefinger's probably talking to Sansa. I don't think he's talking to her in that scene that we see her walking. I think it's a voiceover that's obviously spliced over a different scene, but I do think it's Littlefinger and Sansa. I mean, would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe the opening one with, or the ending one with Sansa. No, you're right. It's definitely both of them are Sansa and Littlefinger.
Yeah. Well, I'm still going to talk about the closing one in a minute, but first I want to talk about the one which I said in my review that I think is misleading, is the Jon Snow voiceover, and we're seeing a lot of shots of Daenerys. And he says, our families have fought together for centuries, or something along those lines. And now we have to, I don't remember the exact words, but the storm is coming. We have to band together against this enemy. And they're leading you to believe that it's Jon talking to Daenerys. But I took out of that, like, our families have fought together for centuries. When the hell do the Starks and Targaryens fight together? I think he's talking to the Umbers and Karstark survivors. And that's because that would make sense. Their families have fought together for centuries against the common enemy. That was the other part of the line. Where our families have fought together against a common enemy. That makes sense to me for the Starks, Karstarks, and Umbers. Makes no sense to me for Starks and Targaryens. So I'm calling that out as misleading voiceover. What do you think about it?
Well, I mean, in my original trailer video, I said it was. I actually specifically said I thought it was him talking to Daenerys rather than the Bannermen, but I was never firm on that, and I kind of changed my mind about it. And I think it does make sense, particularly in the context of reading the synopsis where they say that in episode 2 that Jon faces a revolt. So I think particularly he could be speaking not just to the Umbers and the Karstarks, but all
of them. Yeah. I think that's. Or it could just be, instead of the Karstarks and Umbers, if these other families are starting to revolt, he's talking specifically to them.
Oh, yeah, because he spares Karstark and Umbers.
But my point is he's talking to northern families and not Daenerys.
Yeah, and I agree. It's funny you say that. Well, I guess the trailer is meant to be misleading, but most people, to those who know that Jon and Daenerys are meant, but most people who don't know the spoilers or whatnot, like the trailers are trying to keep it under wraps that Jon and Daenerys are meeting.
Yeah, I don't know, but everything that I read and I didn't watch a ton of other YouTube videos, but the ones that I did watch and the ones that I read, articles that I read, analysis that I read and watched, 100% of them said he's clearly talking to Daenerys.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe it is very misleading then. But yeah.
Because they're showing Daenerys while Jon's voiceover is happening.
Yeah, that's true. And I thought maybe that was the trailer's way of hinting at them coming together. Yeah. But maybe it is, but it's actually also misleading. Yeah. But yeah, I think that makes sense. So let's move on to the other topic you said you wanted to talk about regarding the trailer. Yeah,
and I also want to talk about the final voiceover there, which is Sansa saying the lone wolf dies, the pack stays together, the pack survives, whatever. I've seen people, since I made my review, I've seen people point out that that's a line that Ned Stark said to Arya. And I actually saw that it would happen in the book. So I'm not even 100% sure that he actually said this to her in the show as well. Because what I read was that he said this to her in the books. But but that the line that Sansa is saying is something that Ned Stark said to Arya in the beginning when Sansa and Arya were fighting with each other, and Ned Stark sits her down and says, the lone wolf survives, or the lone wolf dies, the pack survives, and all that stuff. So if that's the case that he said that to Arya, then what I think happens here is that Arya says that to Sansa at some point earlier in the season. Like, this is what father told me, like when they're arguing with each other. And I think that Sansa's then regurgitating this to Littlefinger. And my thought was, and I could be wrong, this is just I absolutely could be wrong, but my prediction is that this is actually what I hope, because I think it would be cool, that she's repeating that line to Littlefinger at the end, right as he's about to be killed.
That was my take of it too. As soon as I heard that line, it's like she's saying this right as he's dying or right before he's going to be killed. Like, there's so much sense of like foreboding in the way she says it. Now, some people.
Reminds me a lot of the way she talked to Ramsay when he was being killed. So that's.
Oh yes, yeah, definitely.
Just the tone, just the way, yeah. But anyway,
some people in the chat are saying that they think the lone wolf is Arya. So I suppose maybe they're thinking that she's talking to Arya, but I don't really see that, because there's just something that's
no. That's a way of saying if you go alone, you die. If you stick together as a family, you survive. It's not, lone wolf does not represent any one person. Is saying that is what the point of it was when Ned Stark told it to Arya. Was that we need to stick together. That's the point of it.
Well, in that context, it could be Sansa saying that to Arya because she doesn't want Arya to go off on her own. She wants to.
Could be. But the way I see it is going back to Littlefinger is that her saying that I'm sticking with my family. Fuck you. Like, I'm not going off with you and doing your thing. I am a Stark 100%, and I'm standing behind my family, because I believe Littlefinger is going to be trying to, split her off from the rest of her family. And actually, there was production leaks. I don't think it was in the original plot leak, but it was production leaks that came on Watchers on the Wall that said that Arya and Sansa, that Littlefinger is going to be trying to split up Arya and Sansa and causing trouble between the two.
Yeah, and I think that makes the most sense too.
Yeah. So I think that that's Sansa's big fuck you at the end of the season, is saying, I'm sticking with Arya. I'm sticking with my family. Fuck you. Like, that's what I think. And
there is that sense of the way she says that line. And again, trailers can often be misleading. So
that's just the way we're interpreting it. We could be completely wrong, but this is just how we see it. Yeah.
But that's where I'd place my bets. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I just wanted to address in the chat, someone was asking how we think Littlefinger would die. Will he be stabbed or beheaded? Or I lost the track of the post. But anyway, my thing of how I think they'll kill Littlefinger is that they'll use his magic teleporter to teleport him into space. That's my guess of how they'll kill Littlefinger.
Yeah.
Fuck you and your teleporter.
Yeah. No, they're gonna. You and Cardinal Doomsday might be the only one that gets this joke, but they're gonna teleport him to the 2% world.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about with the trailer. So,
okay.
If you want to talk about other things before the Q&A, we could do that, or we could get into
Well,
the
someone
Q&A.
was bringing up in the chat just earlier the images of fire and ice in the trailer, which I believe is something you also
I did want to talk about that as well. Yeah, good point. I just want to say Allison Fordyce says that I get it too, referring to my 2% world thing. I didn't see you in there, Allison. I know you were also watching The Leftovers, but I didn't know you were in the chat. Yeah, I was just kind of overwhelmed with all of the flames, like from all these different scenes, like flames with the Dothraki, flames from the dragon, flame on the Ironborn ship, like several scenes of the flames in the Ironborn ship. Beric Dondarrion with the flaming sword, flames in the north, flames, flamity, flames, like all over that trailer. And then you also, I mean, I guess you said, Mark, that there are some people who didn't read the plot leaks who are led to the conclusion that Jon spends the entire season in the north, because you look at the trailer, it's like he's up north. I mean, you see snow, ice, White Walkers, snow, ice. So heavy imagery of both ice and fire. And I just took that to signify we're wrapping this up. Like, this is the Song of Ice and Fire. We're heading towards the conclusion. It's going to be a lot of ice and fire because it's, but I don't know if you have a deeper read into that, or if there's people in chat who, see a little bit deeper into that, but that's kind of just what I saw.
Allison Fordyce watched my video called Littlefinger's Magic Teleporter. I tackle this topic in full length. I'm not going to talk about it here. Anyway, yeah, well, the thing with fire and ice is, yeah, I think you're definitely right. But the question is did they just do that motif for the trailer, or will this also show up in the season more, or will, or is it not going to be as present in the actual show itself?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they definitely did it intentionally in the trailer, but it won't be as noticeable because you won't see all the flame scenes back to back to back in the show. And all the ice back to back to back. But I do think that, it is an indication that, I mean, we're definitely going to have a lot of fire and ice themes, and probably even more so in season 8. But yeah, I think that, it won't be as it won't stand out as much when you're watching the episodes, because there'll be plenty of scenes as you're watching a 60 to 80 minute episode where there's not, flames and ice everywhere. So it definitely is something designed for the trailer for sure.
Yeah. All right, cool. So are we ready to move on to Q&A?
Yeah, I guess whenever people are ready to start asking questions related to season 7 of Game of Thrones, please. If we are ignoring your question, it's probably because you're asking us, what do you think about the Valonqar, or what do you, will it be ice dragons? Although I guess, I mean, if you want to specifically relate the ice dragons to the plot leak of what is actually a white dragon, not an ice dragon, but you can. But just make it relevant to season 7 of Game of Thrones, please, and then we will answer your questions. Whatever you would like to know about Game of Thrones season 7. All right. When do you believe Jon will learn who his parents are? That is from DM Duet 1. And I think, Mark, you and I have different opinions on this. So,
I can't even remember what I said.
Because you thought it would happen. I thought you said it would happen earlier on. Didn't you?
Did I? I might have. I don't know. It's been a while. I'm not too firm on it now, to be honest. Like, I'm open to anything. Maybe he learns about it in episode 1. Maybe he learns about it in episode 7. I would lean towards episode 6 or 7, actually, to be honest.
I'm pretty firm on at the very end of the season, or possibly even next season. It wouldn't even surprise me if they wait till next season. But I think if it's season 7, which probably will be, then I would say the very, very end, episode 7. Like, I think Bran will be talking about it. Sam may even, it sounds like from the plot, like Sam might even be in on it a little bit. I'm not sure, but Bran will definitely be in on it. I mean, the audience will be in on it like earlier in the year, but Jon himself learning, I think, is the very end of the season. Or I'm not shocked if it's season 8. But that's my take on it.
I would be shocked if it's season 8. I wouldn't. Maybe not shocked. I'd be frustrated.
Yeah,
I think he needs to find out this season, and I still am hoping to see him and Bran together because there's still been no indication in the plot. Because Bran and Arya get to Winterfell, he's down Dragonstone, so there's no indication that he will actually see Bran or Arya this season. I really hope he does, and if he does, then I think that's when we'll get the reveal. That's when he'll find out. I think Bran will tell him. And there's been a lot of speculation of all these other ways he could find out, but I think it's simply going to be Bran telling him and nothing else.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys in the chat, maybe hold your questions a little bit so we can catch up. We don't have to scroll back way up to find all your questions. So we'll answer. We've got a few in the chat already we can answer. So let's hold for now until we get through these, and then all
right. So there's Meridian Mormont who says, "Will Arya kill all the Freys using Walder's face?" And I've been saying this from the very beginning, like even before I read any plot leaks. Yeah.
Yeah, and then once it came out that Walder Frey, the actor who plays him, was going to be in it, that pretty much confirmed it.
I mean, I suppose the question is it going to be all of the Freys? Because some people are thinking, oh, there's no way to kill them all because there's so many of them. But the show likes to sort of skip over details like that. So
the show hasn't really emphasizes how many Freys there are as much as the books do. Like in the books, I just feel like there's Freys fucking everywhere. But in the show, it's not really emphasized that as much. So they could just easily say, oh, all the Freys are in this room, she kills them. Like, so, I mean, I think that they could do, I think they might do that, yeah.
All right, another very important question from Cardinal Doomsday. Will Baby Sam actually grow this season? And the answer is no, because he's caught in the time dilation field, the same one that Arya and the Hound were caught in season 4.
Yeah, actually, in the pictures, doesn't he look bigger now? When we saw him in the
I don't remember seeing pictures of him.
I thought that there was a picture of him where he was bigger. But maybe
he did grow a bit in last season, so I don't know if he grew any more from that. But yeah. Anyway,
yeah, for those who say that I mean, not to get too much into this because I know you said you did a video on it, but if you're denying the teleporter thing and that there's there's inconsistencies in the time. All you got to do is look at Baby Sam and like. You want to say, oh, years have passed. Why is he still a baby? Like, just inconsistencies all over the place. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, I mean, yeah, Alison Fordyce was saying it happens in other shows, too. And when it does, I call those other shows out on it, too. So it doesn't exactly. And so there's no reason Game of Thrones is going to get a pass. Anyway, another question from Marilyn Bentley. If you could pick only one character who you firmly believe does die this season, who would it be? Put the plot leaks aside if you can.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can.
No, the plot leaks. Well, no, I would say you got to pick a character who does not die in the plot leak.
Not in the plot leak. Okay.
Yeah.
So someone who hasn't been confirmed by the plot leaks. Grey Worm.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, I mean, Marilyn, I did a whole video on this, like where I picked several people I said was going to die. Now, if I had to pick one, yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a rule that we can't say the same one because at this point I'm like Grey Worm all the way. But it seems like there would be another one if I can remember what the hell I said in my video that I did months ago. That there's probably another one that I'm pretty sure is also going to die. Outside of the plot leaks, but I'll say Grey Worm as well. We skipped a couple questions there. We got Alex McMovies. I mean, I guess that's not directly related to season 7, so but since you're a regular, I'll go ahead. Yeah, best redhead of the show. Sorry, stupid question. Melisandre. Okay, we'll move on to ones that are related to season 7.
Still in the show. Otherwise,
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Next question.
Go ahead. I'm still looking.
There's always been a wedding past few seasons. So who will marry in season 7?
Has there always been a wedding past few seasons? Who married
What
last?
was
What was the season 6?
What was the season 6 wedding?
Yeah.
And
then there were several in season 5.
Yeah.
We actually didn't see his daughter and Daenerys marry. They actually sort of just hinted at it.
Yeah.
I can't think of one. I don't know. I don't think Daenerys will marry if in season 7. If they do marry at all, it'll be season 8.
Yeah. My feeling is they're going to arrange a wedding, and it may or may not actually ever happen. But it won't. If it does happen, it'll definitely be season 8, in my opinion. So I don't think Jon and Daenerys will marry. I think they're going to arrange a marriage.
I don't think we'll get a marriage in season 7, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't see where it would fit in. Like, unless they could throw in some minor character marriage in the North or something, or just for the hell of it. But I don't think there's going to be a wedding. But who knows?
Okay, so Allison Fordyce, are you excited about this season, or do you feel like you're not that excited for anything at this point? That's a very
What are you
question.
excited for? It says, "What are you excited about?"
Oh, what are you excited for this season? Or do you feel you're not excited for anything at this point? The plot leaks have sort of dampened my excitement for the season, which is really a shame, which is why I'm definitely not going to read any if there are for season 8. I'm going to avoid them like a plague in the future. But I'm still excited. There's still some of the main things I'm excited for is the things not mentioned in the plot leaks. Like, does Grey Worm die, or does Arya and Bran meet Jon? That's what I really want. Like, I want to see if those guys meet up. And I'm also really excited to see how the meeting between Jon and Daenerys play out, because the plot leaks give us sort of a rough outline, but to actually see their interactions, I think would be really exciting.
I'm excited for both of the big battles that we're going to get. The one in the field, and then the one in the North. I mean, we read about that in the plot leaks months ago, but then once I started seeing actual visuals of it in the trailer, I was like, oh my God, that's going to be amazing. That looks like kick ass. Like reading it is one thing, but seeing it on screen is a whole different thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing those.
For me, I'm much more excited for the Daenerys Lannister. I'm actually, that's probably the single most thing I'm most excited for. I really can't wait to see the Lannisters get their ass kicked. This has been a long time coming. But the other battle with the White Walkers, I'm more nervous about because of the whole Ice Dragon thing, which I still think is a very bad thing, and I think it's even though I predicted it wouldn't happen, it seems really likely that, because all the major points of the plot leaks happen, and that's a pretty major point. So I'm very nervous about that, and I'm very nervous to see if it will be as bad as I think it will be.
Yeah. And going back to what you said earlier about, the dude saying that you got the plot leaks all wrong or something. There was always one thing that you always say that I have never read anywhere, and I've only ever heard it from you, which is the wall's going to come down from the White Dragon directly. Like, I did not ever read that, but I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that I've only ever heard that from you.
I read that on one of those sites that might have been wrong, so I think it is a strong possibility that was a fake plot leak, which would be great because that sounds awful. So I am very much hoping that is incorrect. So another question that Kyle's Mount asks: are the others good? At first, I always think of the others as the people from Lost, and I think of the White Walkers.
Which I think is exactly why they changed or just went by White Walkers.
And I think I prefer. Yeah, go ahead.
Because Lost had just gone off the air the year before, and it was a very popular show, and everybody thought of them as the others from Lost. So I think that's why they went by White Walkers in Game of Thrones.
And the White Walkers is a term used in the books as well.
It is, but yeah.
Use it.
I mean, they didn't make it up for the show. Yeah, they just use it more heavily. They don't use the others at all in the show.
Which is why I just saying I personally prefer the term White Walkers because it applies to both show and book, whereas the others just applies to the book. But regardless, are they really good? I've went extensively on this, and I do not think at all that they are. I think that they are a weapon of mass destruction metaphor, and that they're not really good. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this, Atkin?
Yeah, I mean, I used to really be on the theory that not that they were good, but that they like anyone on any war, like believes that they are in the right, and I still think that that's probably the case. Like which I guess you could make the case for Ramsay that he thinks that he is right. But I had this whole theory about the truce, and I don't like things that I'm reading and hearing lately, or over the last year or so, were kind of having me maybe soften on that a little bit. Like, I don't know about this whole truce thing that I've come up with, that there was a truce thousand. I didn't come up with it, actually. I repeated it from somebody else. It was a theory that I liked, that there was some truce thousands of years ago that everybody's forgotten about, and the humans have somehow broken the truce. Knowing now that the White Walkers were created by the children in order to fight the humans, I don't know that necessarily is true.
That definitely changed my opinion on it. Like, I put stock in that theory as well until I saw that, and I think that I like my doomsday machine from Star Trek analogy. It's just a weapon of mass destruction that's out of control. And I suppose you could say they have their perspective that they want to get revenge on humanity for creating them or fucking them up or whatever. But I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah. All right. So another question, Meridian Mormont asked, I read somewhere Jon dies again this season and is brought back by Beric. What do you think? I think that's total bullshit, if I'm being perfectly honest. I believe in that 0%. Like, no, that is not happening.
I mean, if it was in the plot leaks, I might have to admit it's a possibility, but it wasn't. So
yeah,
it sounds completely bogus to me.
Yeah, what we hear about Jon in the plot leaks is that he's near death and he's rescued by what's his face, Benjen. Maybe that's what you're thinking of. Maybe you saw Benjen and you were thinking Beric. I don't know, because their names are a little bit similar. So, but I
don't think he'll bring them back to life.
He's not gonna bring him back to life. He's gonna rescue him and keep him from dying. Is how I interpreted it. That he's going to Jon's going to be close to death and Benjen's going to bring him back to health, but not back to life. He won't be totally dead.
So Alex Movies asks who will be the big death for season 7, like Ned Stark of the season. I don't think there'll be that big of a death. I think the biggest one will probably be Littlefinger.
Yeah.
I think that will be. What do you think? The finale?
I think the finale. I think the finale. Yeah, I don't think. I don't think that we're going to see Cersei or Jaime or
Daenerys
or Daenerys or Tyrion or any of those. I do not think that you'll see. So I think the biggest one will probably be Littlefinger. And I think, the next one would probably be Grey Worm.
I think it would be more like a season 5 finale type thing where we get a lot of little deaths, or not little, but my sort of supporting character's death in the finale, like Bronn, or if he dies, and Littlefinger and Euron Greyjoy and people like that.
Yeah. DM Duet 1 asked Sam and Jon reunion this season. Sure didn't sound like it from the plot leak. I don't think they're going anywhere near each other, so I don't think we get Sam.
They said Sam was going to Winterfell.
But Jon's not going to be at Winterfell.
I'm still a bit foggy on that. Because he goes up to the wall. I'm still hoping he'll stop by Winterfell.
That's right. You did predict that. No, I don't think there's time. I don't think he goes from Winterfell to Dragonstone to the wall to Winterfell to... I just don't think so.
It's not that far apart. I don't know. We'll see how rushed this season is.
I don't think there's going to be time for it. So I'm going to say no, but Mark's saying possibility.
I hope so.
I think it's going to be season 8. We get the Sam and Jon reunion personally, but we shall see.
All right. I'm getting completely lost in my browser.
All right, wait.
I think if you want to pick a question.
Okay, wait. Yeah, let me start from the. Let me get back up to the Sam one so I can make sure I pick the next one. Sam and John. Oh, wait.
Just real quick, Blackman94, thanks for joining. He said Jon Snow will come back just like Lynn's dumpster. I never tire. Just like I never tire teleporter jokes, I never tire the dumpster jokes.
Yeah, I don't watch The Walking Dead, but I hear about the dumpster jokes all the time. So I'm scrolling down here. I'm not seeing questions. I'm seeing some conversations. Okay, this doesn't relate to season 7. It's kind of breaking our rules a bit, but I'll take it because Allison Fordyce is a big supporter of our channels, and it's an interesting question. So, what Star Trek aliens do the White Walkers most resemble?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I don't know if they resemble any Star Trek aliens.
I'm thinking of the Kroll from the Star Trek Beyond. But that came out after Game of Thrones, so maybe they were emulating the White Walkers.
Yeah. Yeah, as far as before that, I can't think of any aliens.
Oh, Cardinal Doomday says Andorians.
Oh, maybe, yeah, sure.
They're both blue.
They're both blue. Well, technically they're white, aren't they? But
are they? Oh, okay.
I mean, they're the White Walkers.
Oh, yeah. They're bluish. The Night King definitely has a blue hue to him.
Yeah, he does. All right. Okay, I've lost my place again. After the Star Trek aliens, let's see. Littlefinger death on second to last episode. I still think it's a finale. Let's see. Grey Worm death needs to happen so plot filler can end and we can get serious. I don't know about that, but Cardinal, let's see, Sam reunion in season 8. I don't see any more questions. Oh, here we go. From Cardinal Doomsday, will Tyrion and Cersei meet this season? I'm not sure, but I kind of hope so. I really want to see that.
Oh,
it seems like
they're confirmed.
They're at the Dragon
Pits.
Yeah, they'll be at the Dragon Pits. Yeah,
I think that will be their first meeting. I get the impression that they're going to have it out there.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you're right, Mark. It's going to be at the Dragon Pits. So yeah, it probably will be there for.
Yeah, what I'm really, really, really hoping to see is I hope they show on screen the moment Cersei learns that Tyrion is Daenerys' hand.
They have to.
I want to see her reaction.
Yeah, they can't have that off screen.
Yeah.
That would be. That would be incredibly disappointing. If, like, Cersei just knows all this. Oh yeah, well Tyrion. Yeah, no, we got to see like a big reveal. Although Cersei is not quite as like gung ho about getting Tyrion in the show as she is in the books.
She's pretty gung ho in the show, though. She was still killing all those dwarves. And
but that was just kind of glossed over in the show compared to the way that was really like spelled. I felt like it was just really emphasized more in the books. Like I feel like there was one scene where some dude threw a dwarf's head on her table, and that was like all you ever heard of it. Whereas in the books, there was a lot more about her killing all these different dwarves and like really.
Yeah, well, that's true. I think that's more of a thing of the show being sort of truncated. I think that it was bubbling there. We just haven't really seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in the book she was really like obsessed with Tyrion, and like in the show she like. Did she mention Tyrion in season 6? Really? I mean, I don't think she did. She wasn't really even focused on Tyrion at all, so it's not quite the same to me as it was.
Well, it's not the same. I think you're right. It is worse than the books, but I think it still exists in the show. I think she still has that.
Yeah,
really desire. Okay, so another good question from DM Duet 1. What do you think will be the final scene of the season?
Oh, good question. I've predicted the first scene of the season, but I have not predicted the final scene.
I actually haven't the slightest clue. All right, if this nonsense bullshit about the wall coming down is true, then I would say that is the final scene. But I hope that nonsense is just bullshit.
Well, I predict the wall is going to come down. Like I where the nonsense bullshit to me is like the
dragon.
The dragon is going to shoot flames on it and bring it down. But I think the wall will come down. It could possibly be the last scene of the season. I don't know.
Okay, maybe the wall coming down isn't that. I meant the bullshit was the dragon shooting fire. But I still don't think the wall will come down. But I'm hoping it will. But it's probably will. So I'll say that's the last scene.
Okay. Broke Black Man 94. It would be strange if Sam finds out R plus L equals J when all the supposedly smartest people didn't. Do you think the Maesters always knew but kept it a secret? What do you think, Mark? Do you think that the Maesters had any idea about R plus L equals J?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose you could say like there were midwives there that helped Lyanna give birth, and maybe they could have told the Maesters, but I doubt it. I don't think the show will go into that sort of detail anyway.
I agree. I don't think the show is going to have time for that kind of detail. So maybe in the book, something like that could come up, possibly, but I don't think in the show for sure.
Some people are saying that Sam will find out. I'm not sold on that. Unless Bran tells him. Yeah. I think everything's going to come from Bran because the whole thing we saw it through Bran last season. So he's going to be the main conduit that this information gets out.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So Allison Fordyce says, what would surprise you if it happened this season? Most. What would surprise you the most if it happened this season? Well, I mean, if someone like Daenerys or Tyrion died.
Yeah, that's kind of... Yeah, I was trying to think of something other than that. But yeah, if one of those like major characters like Daenerys or Tyrion died, that would be pretty surprising to me. Other than that, I don't know. The plot leak covers too much. So there's
well, if something major in a plot leak was wrong. That was
or if something was major, really major happens that wasn't in the plot.
It missed.
Yeah. But I don't know. I can't think of what that would be, so I don't
know. Let's see. Alex McClure, should we put a? Oh no. Put a Q. Yeah, you don't have to. You can put a Q in front of your question if you want.
Yeah, you don't have to. If we're skipping your question, it could be because we don't think it's relevant in season 7, even though we kind of have been answering some of those.
Or it could be we just missed it.
Yeah, it could be. The best thing to do is really to slow down with the questions. I'm actually not even scrolled down all the way to the bottom, and
there's not too many. We have a question from Sandra S. None of the 3 rulers, Jon, Dany, Cersei, have heirs. Will this be addressed in this season? I don't think so. I don't know.
Wait, where do you see that? Let's see. I'll read the question. None of the 3 rulers, Jon, Dany, Cersei, have heirs. Will this be addressed this season? No, I do think that's going to have an impact.
You do?
Ultimately. Okay. I mean, well, I don't think any of them are going to end up being on the Iron Throne. So
I think maybe isn't Jon's heir like technically Sansa?
Well, not if he's a Targaryen.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, as for being king of the North, she's next to rule
right. North. As far as being king of the North, yeah.
But Cersei doesn't have an heir.
Yeah, she doesn't have an heir.
Oh, there's the plot leak talk. Didn't the plot leak talk about her trying to have a baby with Jaime?
Yeah, it did.
And then she miscarriage. Yeah.
Yeah. So that probably will be addressed. Yeah, that could be addressed. And then I think Jon and Daenerys may talk about, or we need to make an heir or whatever. I don't know. I don't think that'll be this season, though.
I think Tyrion might bring up, or Varys or someone might bring up to Dany that she needs an heir.
Yeah. Yeah, and just, Well, I think
it's going to be... pressure her to marry because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Colonel Doomsday says, "Is Tyrion going to ride a dragon this season?" I used to be so on board that train. I used to think Tyrion's definitely going to ride a dragon, but I think I jumped off that train. I don't think he's ever going to ride a dragon.
Nope. I've never been a huge fan of that. No, I still think it's possible in the books, though. I just don't think it's going to happen.
All right, Meridian Mormont brings up a really interesting question. How will a reunion between Jaime and Tyrion go? And here's my thoughts on that. I think Jaime is going to be really interesting. Like, I think the two of them will sort of meet on the battlefield, but they won't actually meet. They'll just see each other through, like, the distance, and it's going to be weird for them being opposite sides of the battle. I think Jaime is going to lighten his position on Tyrion, because before he's like, I'm going to kill him. But I think when he learns from Lady Olenna that she was the one who killed Joffrey and she framed Tyrion, that's going to make him rethink his position on Tyrion. But then again, seeing him on the opposing army is going to make him hate him again. So it's going to be really interesting, I think. That's another thing I can't wait to see.
And will they meet this season? Is Jaime going to be at the Dragon Pit scene?
Yeah, I believe so.
So that's probably where they'll meet too, because I don't know if they'll meet before that. Like,
no, probably
except as at a distance, like you said.
Yeah.
If Tyrion's is Tyrion going to be at that battle? I mean, he doesn't fight. I thought he was going to stay at Dragonstone.
Who?
Tyrion. Is he going to be at that big battle?
I heard that he was going to. Again, this might be the misinformed plot leaks, but I heard that he was going to be there, sort of like, not involved in the fighting, but sort of as a, but in the back, sort of.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And that he would be there. He was going to be the one who's going to be pissed off at Daenerys when she fries what's his face, Sam's dad, with the dragon.
Okay. Yeah, then you're right. I think you're right. He is going to be there.
And the Carl's Mount says, "Why will they believe Bran?" Well, I think it's going to be someone like Jon and or Sam who will take Bran at his word.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, Sam, I think, is going to be doing his own research, and so I think it will make sense to him. And but
I think Bran will possibly demonstrate some of his working abilities, and so that will give further credence.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's another thing about the trailer I wanted to mention, because I was going on this wild speculation of who we see standing next to Bran in the trailer, saying it's the three-eyed raven, but it's obviously that Maester guy, blanking on his name at this. But
yeah, I can't remember his name either. I mean, I don't know. I thought it was funny because I just straight up saw it and thought oh, that's the Maester. Like, I didn't even think it was anybody else. But then
Maester Wolkan, that's who it is.
Yeah, a certain channel that people like to knock on a lot we like to knock on for some misinformation. He's very awesome in an emergency. He just said straight up, "Oh, it's Davos." Like, what the fuck did he? Yeah, he just said it like it's a fact. Well, there's Davos with Bran, and I'm like, doesn't look anything like Davos. What are you even talking about? It's pretty obviously the Maester to me, but who knows?
I was thinking about doing some sort of compilation video of all the mistakes he made, but that would be cruel.
That's cruel.
Yeah, I don't want to do something so attacking. I don't want to start shit on YouTube. But
yeah, and I mean, he generally seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And he's really the first channel that I really got into for Game of Thrones channels. So
I mean, I get stuff wrong from time to time.
Yeah, we all get stuff wrong.
But the amount he does is just ridiculous. I just stopped watching it because of that. But yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's not get too stuck on that. Is Euron going to die this season? Cardinal Doomsday asks, and I've already answered this in my video. I think we even answered this earlier in this video, didn't we? Yes,
I mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, we already pay attention, Doomsday. Come on, get with the program. I'm joking with you, of course. Kidding. But yeah, we did already talk about that. Yes, Euron. We both believe Euron is going to die this season.
I mean, we could be wrong though, because it's not in the plot leaks.
It's not, but we both think he's going to die. We both predicted something similar, where there's going to be a kind of combat with Theon, and somehow Theon's going to come out winning. Like maybe his Euron's dudes will turn against him, or some weird way Theon's going to end up winning it. Theon should by all rights get his ass kicked by Euron, but somehow something is going to happen where Euron's going to die.
All right, so Alex McMoody says, I have to go now. I have a 12-hour shift tomorrow. All right, well, thanks for joining. Thanks for stopping in. I think we're actually going to be wrapping up soon. I think I'll put a sort of a 10-minute marker here. So any final questions that you have, get them out now. And if there's too many of them, we might not be able to get to all of them. But let's sort of go for wrapping things up now. Let's see.
I don't see any other questions. Jim Broadbent is the Maester, right? Jim Broadbent is he's not the Maester of Winterfell. The Maester of Winterfell was there last year. He was the one who was with the Boltons. Jim Broadbent is going to be the Maester that Sam meets. But I don't think it's going to be Maester Marwyn, though. It's going to be that. What was the name of the dude who came out in the plot, or came out in Marches on the Wall? It was
I can't remember.
It was some obscure Maester from the books.
It's like Ambrosia or something weird like that. I still see a lot of like popular videos online who are still assuming Jim Broadbent's going to play Maester Marwyn, but it's been confirmed that it's not Maester Marwyn.
Yeah.
Alison Fordyce, do you think anyone else will become a dragon rider? I don't know. It kind of seems like they need to have another dragon rider. I mean, I suppose it could be Jon Snow, and if the third dragon dies, then just Jon Snow and Daenerys.
Yeah. Well, it seems like with Jon petting the dragon, they might be setting up for Jon has a connection with the dragons, and Jon could end up writing one. But I don't think it'll be season 7. I think it'll be season 8.
Yeah, I do think so. I think that season 7 will be laying the groundwork for it with him petting the dragon.
So, Cardinal Doomsday, are you naming that Elbrove or Elb? I think he's naming the Maester.
The Maester guy. Okay.
Yeah, I think it is something like that, Elbrove or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, the guy, the Maester in Winterfell, we were referring to as Maester Walken.
Yeah. But that's not Jim Broadbent.
No, it's the guy we've seen before. Yeah. He was the guy who, like, Ramsay sort of killed Roose in front of him, and he was like, he died by our enemies. Tell everyone that, and he was pissing his pants. It's like, yes, our enemies killed him.
Yeah, he's going to be much happier with the Starks there. I think that he's going to be very happy to serve the Starks, and maybe you see him approaching Bran. Maybe he kind of is going to try to fill in for Maester Luwin a little bit, try to
sort of form a connection with Bran, since he'll need attention. Yeah, I think that's what we'll see for mostly.
Yeah.
So Marilyn Bentley says, Tormund and Brienne love story this season, or either of you into or just don't care? I personally think it's cool and would love for them to hook up. Well, we kind of touched on this earlier too, but I don't. I mean, I think we'll get more scenes of them, like of Tormund making eyes at her or whatever, and maybe they'll develop a bit more just for fan service because the fans really want to see it. But I don't think anything's actually going to become of it because she's obviously really not into him.
Ebros, Meridian Mormont says. Ebros.
Okay.
I think, I don't know, or Ebrose, I don't know how you pronounce it, but that's the name of the Maester. But anyway, as for Brienne and Tormund, as I said earlier, I think it's comic relief. I think we're going to see some comic relief. We'll see a little bit more on it, but I don't think they're going to like hook up or anything like that.
All right, cool. Well, there doesn't appear to be any more questions in the chat, so I think we'll end this discussion here. I want to thank everyone for joining. This was a fun little interaction. It's great to get to interact with you guys directly. And, of course, me and Apkin will be back every week covering each episode of Season 7.
Yeah, and we're going to, of course, do our own reviews on our own channels and then do discussions every week, and I think we're tentatively talking about Tuesday nights, most likely. I don't know if we've 100% confirmed that we're going to do that, but that's
Yeah, I mean, the big announcement that comes with it is the plan this year is, since I've known all these great YouTubers, is to have a different YouTuber every week guesting with us. So we'll have a different guest every week.
Except for the first week, right?
Yeah, except for the episode 1. It will just to ease us into it. We'll have just be the two of us. But so we will try to do it on Tuesday, but it depends on our guests' availability. So if they're not available Tuesday, then we'll have to push it back to a later day.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, we really look forward to that, having a different special guest. Do you have the lineup set yet, or is that still kind of in a work in progress there?
Well, I have the lineup set except for episode 5. I'm still working on episode 5. But episode 2, and in fact, I need to send them a message because episode 2 is coming up soon, so we can start scheduling, is going to be Josh and Anna from Geeksiders. I don't know if you've heard their big news, but Anna's actually pregnant.
I wonder what they're going to name their
yeah. I don't know.
I feel like it should be a reference to one of the shows they review.
It might be a Firefly reference. Yeah. I would reckon.
But maybe we'll ask them.
But yeah, so they'll be guesting, and their first guest on episode 2, and then episode 3 was set up to be Darren from D's Reviews, who I've done the Black Sails and a Game of Thrones commentary. You haven't met him yet, so
yeah, no, I haven't done anything with him. Looking forward to it. Yeah.
And then episode 4 will be Max from Buzz Talks, and he's really excited to talk about episode 4 because that's the big battle with Jamie. He's like, thank you for picking that episode.
Yeah, he drew a good one. Yeah, that'll be a great one to talk about.
And as I said, episode 5 is TBC or TBA, to be announced, and episode 6 will be Don Willie from Dawn of Last Fire. Huge, always great to have him. And then the big finale, of course, we got to get the best Phil the Issues guy.
Yeah. I love doing discussions with Phil. Phil's always really fun to do. They take a long time, but they're really fun. Yeah,
loves to go in tangents, but they're always awesome tangents. So I never want to stop them.
Yeah, he does. I mean, usually after I'm like, okay, we're here for 3 hours, but this has been a blast. So I don't mind. Yeah, and love doing discussions with all this guys. Don Willie's always fun. Josh and Anna. Haven't done one with tell me again, who is our episode 4 guy? Or episode 3, rather.
Episode 3 is Darren from DC.
Yeah, so he's one I haven't done one with, but Max, we did one recently with Max.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Spoiler time.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think, are we going to try to do these discussions spoiler free? I think we'll have to with guests like Geeksiders because they haven't read the spoilers, the plot leaks.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe with Max we can, but I think for the rest of them we'll have to keep the spoilers under wraps.
Yeah. Well, then once we're in episode 7, there's no more spoilers to be had. So
yeah.
So,
but for the earlier ones, we'll probably have to be tight-lipped on that.
Yeah, we'll have to. Except for the Max one because he's like heavier into the spoilers than we are. So
yeah. Yeah, you should check out some of his prediction videos. They're like super detailed. Yeah. I'm like, holy shit, he has like high detailed prediction videos. But anyway, that's sort of what's coming up for us. And I'll be doing the plan for me is to do 2 reviews for each episode, one earlier, right after the episode airs, and then one later in the week, sort of gauging the response that I hear. Because I always get a different sort of opinion after hearing everyone's response for it.
Yeah.
And but maybe I'll talk about spoilers in that second one.
Before we finish wrapping this up, I do want to actually jump into the chat because Roseanne Hale has a question, and I don't know if she got a chance to ask one before. So, and it's a really easy answer. Bronn dies this season or never? Well, my running joke is every year I pick Bronn until he does, because I'm convinced he will eventually. So I'm going to say yes on that one. But
I'd say maybe this season, but definitely not never. He either dies this season or next. He's going to die one way or the other.
Yeah, Cardinal Doomsday says, Acton, dinner time for you. Go and eat. How do you know I didn't eat? I was actually planning to eat before we came on here, and I was doing other things, and I lost track of time. I was like, holy crap, it's 5:45, so I didn't eat. But I was actually planning to eat before we came on. Yes, Cardinal, you got a good point there. I am kind of getting hungry. So
yes, we will end it here. And thank you guys. Thanks everyone for joining. Of course, thank you, Afghan, for joining. And yeah, be sure to keep an eye on both our channels. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not. And we will see you next week, I believe. Yeah.